Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You have tuned into the Rebel News live stream on this, a Friday, May 20th, 2022. I'm David Menzies, and my co-host, well, let me tell you a little bit about my co-host. You know, folks, today is National Be a Millionaire Day. I think I'll buy her a lottery ticket. She is the she-devil with a spatula. She is the Khaleesi of Quebec City. She is Alexa Lavoie. How you doing there, Alexa? Or as they say in your neck of the woods, bonjour.
After that presentation, I don't know what to say.
Well, you know, Alexa, these silly national days that are on the calendar, I don't know who comes up with them, but National Be a Millionaire Day, I did a little research and I was looking for the crucial element because I'm just a thousandaire, meaning I think I have $1,000 in the bank, or maybe I'm just a hundredaire right now. And it says there's no A to B directive to become a millionaire. It says to do things millionaires would do. So book a spa day, test drive an exotic car. Gee, thanks. It's all make-believe. This has to be one of the dumbest national days of all time. But hey, I think Lotto Max is 65 million, Alexa. So if you have a spare $5, maybe good fortune will smile on you tonight.
I actually never really buy any lottery, so I don't think I would be lucky tonight.
Well, you're never going to win then.
Yeah, anyway.
In any event, Alexa, we can dream, and I think that's what it'll boil down to me. I can dream all the way to the afterlife. But let us explain what it is that we are trying to do today, my friend.
Okay, what we are going to try to do?
Yes. This is where you... Well, I might have caught you by surprise. Well, folks, here's what happens. We're going to... Lots on the news to discuss. And we will... as much as we love the audience reach of YouTube, I think we have over 1.6 million subscribers. If we delve into dangerous waters, that would be having a contrarian opinion to Dr. Fauci regarding the coronavirus. That would be mentioning electoral fraud. Well, electoral fraud of 2020, you can talk all you want about electoral fraud of 2016. That's actually encouraged. That will get us a black mark from YouTube, and we don't want that to happen. So in the meantime, we will switch over to other platforms. There's Getter, Odyssey, Super U, and the way it works, as frequent audience members of this time slot might know, if you can send us a super chat or libraries, as it's known on some of the other platforms, we will read your comment on air. And that's how we pay the hydro bill right now. We're not like CBC that uses direct withdrawal of your bank account every 2 weeks and plucks it out of your purse or wallet, whether you want them to or not. So I don't know, Alexa, I think that is the most honest way of fundraising. I mean, our critics and our haters say, oh, there goes Rebel News begging for money again. But wait a minute, what do you mean begging? If you want to watch our content, you're allowed to. And if you want to make a contribution, you can. It's voluntary. It's a volunteer aspect. Yep. And yet, like I mentioned, CBC, of course, the mainstream media, hundreds of millions of dollars in prop-up fees to make those media outlets viable. So, like I said, there is no shame in reaching out to our audience and asking for a donation. No shame at all, I think.
No, and as well, if you want to make a donation or help us and you want to like wear our brand, we have like so much nice thing that you can buy for yourself or for your family at rebelnewsstore.com. I actually really enjoy every piece that merch I'm wearing. It's so comfortable.
Yes, good point. The Rebel News store. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Alexa, you're wearing a misunderstood sweatshirt, correct?
I love it. It's so comfortable, and it's actually really well. Like it's a broderie. Like it's really nice.
Oh, yeah, it's quality merchandise. And, of course, Misunderstood, that's the show that Kat and Nat host. It's a lot of fun, folks. They delve into pop culture, and I always get a hoot out of those two gals. And there is the shirt, and, of course, Alexa looks resplendent in it. And as you can see, we're scrolling through some of the other merchandise. We've got a lot of new items, folks, T-shirts, caps. Hey, Alexa, why not wear your politics on your sleeve? Quite literally.
Politic on my leave.
Your sleeve. There you go. So, anyways, folks, tons of stuff in the news and something quite dire. Looks like something emanating out of your neck of the woods again, Alexa. My goodness, monkeypox outbreaks. There is a confirmation of at least 2 cases of monkeypox in Quebec, 20 other suspected cases under investigation. Yep. Didn't we just get out of COVID-19 and now this new layer of hell descends upon us? Alexa, what exactly is monkeypox and how deadly is it?
So the CDC have released like recently that for the death rate on these days can be about like 3% of death. It's mostly like transmit by fluid that have the disease. So they will say like it's mostly if you have like a lesion or can be transmitting by gutlet, like spreading gutlet. So again, when we look at Sweden, the government say that they can use now health restriction and measure to stop to spread this infection. But this infection is from Congo, Republic of Congo. So we are thinking about a disease that come from again in Africa, when we know that Roxham Road is not stopping illegal immigrants to come inside of our country. It takes a while that they have their medical inspection. And now we have this pox that is known since many, many years. Like we talk about, I think it's in 1954 or something like that. Mm-hmm. That is existing. It's not a new disease. It's something that we already saw in the past. And now when we look at our mainstream media, it's all over the television. Like now I have the impression that they use that as a fear. Like they are talking every channel. They are talking about the monkeypox. They're mostly on men and mostly on genital area. So since when the monkeypox is mostly in the genital area, most of the time it's all over the skin. So it's something that I try to understand, and especially they say that it's not transmitting sexually, but they found out that it's mostly in this region. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what I think about it. Thank God the zoo wouldn't let me in their gates a couple of months ago when we went there because I was unvaccinated and they were worried about me giving the monkeys a disease. But seriously, you raise a couple of very profound points, I think, Alexa. One is the infamous Roxham Road. You have been doing absolutely fantastic work that the mainstream media has been AWOL on in chronicling this national disgrace. Well, I'll call it an international disgrace. And of course, what I'm referring to, folks, if you don't know it, is that Roxham Road is in Quebec. It straddles the province of Quebec and state of New York. And there's a little cottage industry there where people just waltz over the border willy-nilly. The RCMP, instead of doing a blockade, actually carry their suitcases. They turn into the Royal Canadian Mounted Bellhop Police. Mm-hmm. And we know, as a matter of fact, and I think this is so egregious, more than 60% of the people who have come across that border during COVID are not vaccinated. And what, makes me just gobsmacked, Alexa, is that you or I, to get on a plane, a train, a boat, if we don't have our vaccination, we're persona non grata, and we are tax-paying citizens. Meanwhile, illegal aliens, hey, nothing to see here, folks. Come on in. So I wonder, especially as you say that the hot spot is Africa, specifically Congo, for the monkeypox. Are they going to ramp up screening? Because I could care less where you are in terms of taking in refugee claimants. Surely public safety comes first. And I think since Justin Trudeau has absolutely no desire, Alexa, to police our border and maintain a firm border, we have to, because of the scare of monkeypox, I would suggest, to ramp up screening efforts. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and especially like this is so outrageous because our premier recently with Jean Boulet, our Ministry of Transport and like a lot of other stuff, they asked to close Roxham Road because we were at a level that we were not capable to give good services to them because we overreach the possibility for us to receive more of them. And that request was refused from the federal government. And right now, what is going on is like recently I went to Parc Amélie Gamelin next to Place Dupuis where the illegal immigrants are there. So I was talking with them. From three that I talked with, one was from the Republic of Congo, where it's come from the monkeypox.
Isn't that amazing? You know what? I would suggest there is some ripe fields to wander across for you, Alexa, in terms of some investigative journalism to see if there is a connection to our pathetic border security and the monkeypox. And by the way, the reason why Roxham Road wasn't closed down, I'm paraphrasing what the Prime Minister said, but Justin Trudeau basically said, well, if we fence or wall off the Roxham Road area, there are so many other places illegal, or he calls them irregular migrants. Irregular. Like, you know, when I go to a clothing store, I might buy a pair of irregular socks to get a discount, but evidently Justin Trudeau likes to use irregular as opposed to illegal, which is what they are. But, you know...
But can I add something like that?
Yes.
On that? So if we say that, when he closed Roxham Road during the pandemic, so that means that so many other places where other illegal immigrants went inside of the country during the mid of the pandemic.
Yeah. But, I mean, the point I'm getting to, Alexa, is, we have a very large undefended border, but what kind of a defeatist attitude is that? To say that, you know, there are so many points of entry, it's impossible to shut them down. Oh, come on. You are the Prime Minister that put out years ago, #Welcome to Canada. You encouraged this. And I would suggest to you, Alexa, the benchmark of being a sovereign nation is that you can control your own borders. If you can't do that, I don't think you're a sovereign nation.
But now, like that, I rethink about the fence that Trump wanted to put like everywhere, like between Mexico and United States. When at first I was like, this is crazy. But now I'm just like, maybe it was not as crazy.
100%. And by the way, we should make it clear now that there's been regime change in the United States. See, there's Justin Trudeau's infamous tweet. For those fleeing persecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you regardless of your faith. Diversity is our strength. #Welcome to Canada. Here's the thing, Alexa. As we well know, if you're in the United States of America, you're not fleeing persecution, terror, and war. You're already home free in a democratic nation. And even if you could make the case, Trump, that's the mean orange man that's going to send me back. Well, under the Biden administration, every day, hundreds, if not thousands of illegal migrants are coming across the southern border. So why are you seeking refuge in Canada in the first place? It's mind-boggling. It doesn't make sense to me, Alexa.
And especially it's why they don't take the regular path, because they know that they have the third safe country regulation.
That's right.
That will bring them back to U.S. because U.S. is a safe country.
Yeah, this is an appalling loophole that is allowing this, and it shouldn't happen. And like I said, this monkeypox story is just breaking. But wouldn't it be very interesting indeed, Alexa, if you were able to expose, or anyone else out there in the media, although I can't imagine there's much of a desire to with those cats, that these cases coming in, these cases of monkeypox are actually originating in a place halfway around the world, and the people that are transmitting it are here illegally. Now, that's just speculation. We don't have the facts, but you said it yourself. You were interviewing people from, indeed, this region of the world where it's a hot spot for monkeypox.
Exactly. And what I heard so far, it's like they crossed into U.S. and came straight to Canada by the Roxham Road because it was a safe and really open country to receive any kind of immigrant.
Unbelievable. And there's that we're watching on the video, that little monument. That is the actual border marker, isn't it? That that white shape. Well, I won't say what shape it's in, but anyway, or maybe it's a monument to Pierre Elliott Trudeau's middle finger that he displayed to people out west back in the day.
Maybe.
and now it's being displayed to all Canadians for this disgrace at our border. Unbelievable. But we shall move on. And wow, look at this, Alexa. If anyone is upset about getting jabbed for whatever reason, be it coronavirus or monkeypox, well, you need not worry. Evidently, there are ingestible pills on the horizon. I think we have a clip of the Pfizer CEO, Albert Bourla, explaining Pfizer's new top tech to the Davos crowd. Check this out, folks. Oh, 1 second, super producer Efren says to me. So we'll just,
it is
here we go.
Basically biological chip that it is in the tablet. And once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance. The insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field. It is
compliance.
Alexa, you stole the word out of my mouth. Compliance. Compliance to whom? My dog at home, my golden doodle, Sir Gregor, named after a Game of Thrones character, even though he would never harm anyone, he's got a little microchip in him, but that's in case he runs away. We want to be able to find him and trace him. What is this ingestible thing that this guy wants us to have? And compliance, like I said, to whom and for what? What are your thoughts on this?
Know. I would give you one so I can know wherever you go. So I would be happy to know where it's David Mendy.
Oh, boy, never thought about that. I better be on my best behavior, right? When Wifey Poo looks at the phone and says, why is he at that intersection? Maybe there's another market out there by Big Pharma, which is a blocker for the compliance of these pills. But why, Alexa, why is it that the Davos crowd, why is it that Big Pharma, why are they so, focused on putting some kind of, tracer, for lack of a better word, into our bodies? I mean, this kind of goes against the idea of freedom for me. It really is a high-tech version of George Orwell's 1984. It's not just video cameras monitoring your whereabouts, but now there's something ingestible where anyone can find out exactly where you are on the planet. That bothers me.
So my really point is why the CEO of Pfizer is going to the West to do a speech when usually pharmaceutical should be there for saving life and not showing some kind of technology for compliance. This is my first point that we need to look at it. Like now we talk about a company who wants to implement something that human would take inside of their body to be tracked.
You know, you raise a good point. And what I would worry about, as we just saw with the COVID-19 vaccine, Alexa, is a quasi-mandatory request for you to get the jab, or in this case, to ingest the pill. And when I say quasi-mandatory, I mean, you see the proponents of this say, well, there's no law requiring this. Yeah, but what they don't say is that if I don't do it, and I'm talking about the COVID-19 vaccine, I am suspended without pay, which is a fancy way of saying you're fired. I don't qualify for benefits. I can't get on a plane, a train, a boat, you name it. So economically, I'm disciplined. In fact, economically, we've come across thousands of people that have been given the economic death penalty for not complying. And in terms of mobility rights, well, that's out the window, even though the rest of the planet is moving towards taking down these kind of restrictions. I wonder how far away we are, Alexa, to when you come across these kind of tiny chips sending wireless signals to the authorities, when that becomes either ingest the pill or else.
But in the same time, like, I don't know really much like how far we are, but when I look like maybe, I think it was not even like a year ago when our premier say, I don't want to discuss or talk with some people who do some conspiracy theory of a chip in the vaccine. And now we are talking about the pill with a chip. So it's been less maybe of a year of what our premier say. So I think we are not really far away from something else.
You know, that's a good point. It's odd how so many conspiracy theories of circa early 2020 have no longer conspiracy theories. They've become true. And what I'm wondering about, especially with that comment, imagine the compliance.
Yes.
Like, really, what is the ostensible policy reason for microchipping humans like we microchipped little Sir Gregor? Like, what are they hoping to accomplish other than just another way of controlling us for whatever reason, Alexa?
And as well, do the person will know that when she would take the pill, that they have a chip on it?
You know what? That's a good point. Geez, I might have to do some due diligence on my pharmaceuticals. You know, holy mackerel. But again, folks, we'd love you to weigh in on this. And I should say, Alexa mentioned the World Economic Forum. We have, I believe, 7 journalists that are going to be descending upon that Davos powwow, which kicks off on Sunday. And I'm sure they're going to ask questions about this, because this is an enormous red flag for me. And by the way, if you do want to help us out, because it's all the way over in Davos, Switzerland, please go to wefreports.com. That's WEF, World Economic Forum, reports.com. And if you can chip in a buck or $3, I would appreciate. Yeah, what an unfortunate use of words. Not a microchip. You know, we have an idea where Avi Yamini will be based on his word of honor. We're not going to microchip Avi, but much to the chagrin, I'm sure, of CEO Bourla of Pfizer. Well, geez, this is a surreal story for me. Well, from one egregious company to another. We have a clip here of, well, finally, I guess in the Department of Better Late Than Never, Alexa, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is finally getting around to banning Huawei, like so many other Western nations have in terms of their contribution to the 5G network. Let's check it out.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are announcing our intention to prohibit the inclusion of Huawei and ZTE's products and services in Canada's telecommunications systems. This follows a full review by our security agencies and in consultation with our closest allies. Let me be very clear. We will always protect the safety and security of Canadians and will take any actions necessary to safeguard our telecommunication infrastructure.
Okay, let me add something on that.
Okay.
I stopped listening almost when I say our intention to. That doesn't mean that it will do it. They have the intention to do it, but we'll see if they will do it.
You know what? That is a fantastic point, Alexa. As always, the devil is in the details. It kind of reminds me when Kathleen Wynne, many years ago when she was Premier of Ontario, saying, we have a problem in diversity in caucus. What we need is more people who identify as Black women. And that's exactly what happened. My spidey senses went off and I went, wait a minute, why not just say Black woman as opposed to identifying as Black woman? Because it's so crazy right now. I could identify as a Black woman and they'll have to take my word for it, giving the transanity that we witness on a daily basis. So, Alexa, are you betting that this is just, I don't know, a delay tactic? This is not sincere, that there will be no ban of Huawei?
I have the impression that they want to gain some time.
Time for what, though? I mean, and my goodness, as he mentioned, our closest allies banned Huawei going back several months ago. What's in it for Canada to cater to a company out of the Chinese Republic as opposed to following in step with our closest allies? And we know there is a problem of malware and spyware that comes out of China. Why cut Huawei any kind of slack in the first place?
But just the fact that if they have the intention, and we are talking about that since several months, why just don't coming out and say we are banning the company instead of saying our intention to ban the company? I say it's just playing with word. Like, if you want to ban it, and stop playing with word and trying to gain some time around it. Because right now with the intention, they can maybe do the intention to stop it in a year from here now or 10 years from now, but they have the intention to do it.
And something too, Alexa, I wonder where Jean Charest sits on this. I mean, this is a hot potato for him. He did consulting work for Huawei. He will not, and I mean, it was funny at the last debate, I think Pierre Poilievre asked him, 17 or 18 times, how much did you get for this? And Charest went on about something about, I think it was face coverings. It was a complete detour from the question itself. But I would say this is considerable baggage for him, given that this is the man who wants to be the leader of the Conservative Party and presumably the next Prime Minister of Canada.
And he's not worried about a threat under the West as well.
Yeah, not looking good. But, well, you know what? That's a good catch by you, Alexa. We'll have to keep our eyes closely focused on whether or not this Liberal government is sincere of joining our allies and banning this company, I think it's a no-brainer. In fact, it makes me revolted. Well, I hardly watch Hockey Night in Canada anymore since the great Don Cherry was deemed persona non grata. But when I see Hockey Night in Canada sponsored by Huawei, and let's face it, what are they doing there in the first place? I mean, it's like a slap in the face.
But first of all, I don't ever know like when all this have started, but I think like first of all, Mr. Ash should have like came out and say like, not apologize, but say like, oh my God, I don't know, I feel not ashamed, but like to have worked with a company who did that or are doing it still. And I think like right now we should just like be more careful of what we are letting entering in our country as a company. We should like maybe investigate more about that history before like say, okay, welcome to Canada and now you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. No, it's true. And by the way, folks, if you think Alexa and I and others are being overly alarmist about Huawei, please make the case for Huawei. I'm fully supportive of this ban, given, like I said, the potential for malware and spyware that could be coming to our country. I wouldn't put that past the Mandarins in Beijing, not one iota. Moving on, Alexa, well, here's something interesting. The federal government is considering, wow, it falls in place with the ingestible pills of Pfizer. The federal government is considering digital identity and facial recognition for air travel. I think you've been on this file. What's the deal with that?
So Mr. Trudeau and so Canada and the Netherlands in 2018 in the WAF in Davos agreed to be the project pilot for the non-digital identity. But afterward, as you know, in 2019, the pandemic had hit. So probably the project was on ice for a while. But as we know, the non-digital identity will bring the digital identity, the biometric as well as your document, passport, your bank account institution, so your history on it, your history on traveling, so your hotel, where you have stayed before, where you gonna stay as well, which country have you traveled in, and as well, something that you need to not forget, your vaccine passport will be on it as well as other huge documentation. So like right now, they say that at the airport, this is crazy and it's really busy and it's a chaos. But our reporter, Lincoln J, have been there to do a report on it. And most of the people he was talking to say that, no, it was pretty fluid and really like, well, satisfying travel. Like that was not busy at all. So is it a tactic to say, oh, it's such a chaos in the airport that now we need to bring the digital identity that is already like been approved and is on the Canada website, that the digital identity, the non-digital travel identity will be put in place before 2022. It was supposed at that time, but probably it was postponed with the time. So, yeah, it's a reality. It's coming up.
You know, Alexa, I think that's a brilliant point you make. We know at airports across Canada, especially Pearson International Airport in Toronto, it is a mess. There are lineups galore. Even though the air travel at Pearson is only 70% of what it was in 2019 pre-COVID. And, of course, it's our fault, according to the Trudeau Liberals. They think we shouldn't travel to reduce the congestion. Imagine that, right? Blaming the air travelers as opposed to looking at the root causes of this, which is these endless lineups to prove you're vaccinated, random testing, scanning your paperwork. So make sure you have your documents ready or it's going to be an added nightmare. But what you said is, well, look at the mess at Pearson and other airports. If we only have this facial recognition, that'll speed things up. So I guess, surrender your freedom to make the lines go down. I guess that might be their pitch, so to speak, Alexa.
And do you want I bring you another point? Like in Montreal airport, we don't heard about much of this, and probably other airport in Canada, but really on the Pearson airport. And as you know, one of the partnership is Pearson Airport in partnership with WEF. It is one of the partner as Montreal Trudeau is the only two airport in Canada who wants to implement the non-digital identity.
Wow.
For now.
And did you say, Alexa, did I hear you correctly, that those two airports, they have some kind of partnership or alliance with the World Economic Forum?
Yeah.
Why?
So so if you go to the World Economic Forum or the non-digital identity website, the partnership is the WEF and the Accenture that is mostly artificial intelligence and other products like that. So if you look at the partnership, it's Netherlands, others airport in the world, Canada, Pearson Airport, and Montreal Trudeau Airport. Nothing else in Canada.
Wow, that it's mind-boggling. We have other topics to discuss, of course, Alexa, but we've covered a lot right now in the 36 minutes we've been broadcasting. Just wondering, do we have some chats, super producer? No, not yet, I believe.
No.
Or they're still lining them up. I'm not sure.
So,
okay, in the meantime,
okay.
Here's something right in your backyard. Quebec Bill 96. Well, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this, Alexa, what is Bill 96 in Quebec?
So as you know, in 1974, we had the Bill 22 that was for the official language that it was French in Quebec. Mm-hmm. Afterwards, they created the Bill 101. It was the French charter. So now, Mr. Legault won a reform on the Bill 101 and create the Bill 96 to change the 101 bill. So he wants to reduce the school, English school. So what he say, we have criteria to decide who is an English speaker, who are allowed to go to English establishment, and we say that we have 9% of the population in the province of Quebec are Anglophone. So why we have 17% of institutions that are English school. So he wants to reduce and close all the English school to 9% as how many English speaker we have, because they say that it's too much and that will encourage other Quebecers to want to have their school at a English school. And so it go a little bit further because the bill is really unclear how it's writing. So a lot of people raising some issue that I will be able to be served in English in a hospital or being judged in English in my main language in front of a judge, or what is happening, like I will not be access to English course, English school if I'm not in the criteria of Anglophone, because as you know, like the criteria is really strict. You need to be from English speaker parents that come from an English place. You have like a lot of criteria. So if you don't respect these criteria, you are not access to a English school. And so bring to the point that our premier refused to debate in English after debating on the Bill 96 and the Parti Québécois as well. But our premier said that it's because he have no time during the campaign to do all the debate, and he decided to don't debate in English. But as the Parti Québécois, they say it's because he's not capable to assume himself and say, I don't want to debate in English because I don't find that is really useful to debate in two languages when we have one official language. As the Parti Québécois say that we need to prioritize to debate only in French as is our official language. But what about the English speaker here? They are Quebecers. They are a part of the society. They have the right to understand perfectly what is going on during the debate, to be capable to make a decision on who they want to elect. And I think that is actually removing one of their rights to completely understand their choice to choose when it will be the time to decide of our premier. But the fact is, Mr. Legault did debate in 2018 in English. Or suddenly now, he doesn't want to. Is it again like a control of his province? Or maybe it's scared to not be able to debate clearly in English because his English is a little bit more poor than other leader of other party. So what is going on? We don't know.
Well, Alexa, I want to get your opinion on this because you are a francophone born in Quebec. And it's this, whether we're talking about Bill 96 today or we go back to the 70s, I remember Bill 101, I believe it was called, also enforcing laws regarding the French language, including signage for retailers and so on. The proponents of these kind of bills will say this is all about protecting French culture, the French language, that potentially Quebec is just several generations away from French being wiped out. So that's why we need these laws to preserve French language and French culture. What I'm asking you, Alexa, as a francophone, do you believe in that kind of, I guess, argument in support of such laws?
I will say, personally, I understand the fact that they want to protect our French. But it's only Montreal that we see that bilingual people. If we look at Quebec City, it's French. French. If you go outside of it, only French. We don't have and this is a problem. This is an handicap. People doesn't speak English. How they can get informed correctly if they cannot go in other source of media than our legacy media. This is the first thing that really afraid me. Most of the people are brainwashed because they are just watching one side of the story and they cannot go and see other information that's come from everywhere in the world because unfortunately they don't need to learn English because all the company and everything is only in French. And same like big company now, if they sign contract, it needs to be in French. Do you think that some big company that operate in English will be interesting to sign some contract with Quebec when it's only contract in French? But as well, they need to pay for having translate in English. They can do it, but it's way more effort to sign some contract when you need to take the contract in French and translate it in English, and afterwards I think it's not good for our province and it's not good for the people. And I think we should let the people decide if they want to speak both language. It's just because right now I think people will just get lazy and protect their French and doesn't try to learn other language and just say, you know what, this is my official language. Why I would try to learn something else?
No, I think you're right. And I think those people are doing themselves a disservice. I mean, Alexa, believe me, I really wish I could speak French. I've tried to learn it. I'm just a washout at that. But if I was a citizen of Quebec, if I was a francophone, I think the role to go is being bilingual. English is the language of the world. And if you know how to speak English as well as French, you've got an added skill set in that you are bilingual. You have two languages, whereas this dummy in Toronto here, David Menzies, can only speak English. So I would make the argument that, being bilingual is a career-enhancing skill for a Quebecois to have.
And as well, if I actually can add something, we have a ton, but because we are Quebec, so we have Roxanne Road next to us. Okay, we receive this year we will reach 36,000 illegal immigrants probably like at the end of the year on 1 year. 36,000 of them, I don't know what is the percentage of them that just speak English. And now you want to penalize your own citizen who speak both language because you cannot stop the entrance of illegal immigrants who come and take place in Montreal, because it's mostly Montreal the problem. And don't try, like they need to learn French, but most of them, because they can live their life without learning French as, I don't know, like taxi driver or whatever it is, because you don't need to be perfectly French speaker to find a job, because you have always a way to find a job if you don't speak French. But now we have the problem that a lot of immigrants come and they don't speak at all French and they speak only English. This is the real problem here.
You know what? That's a great point, Alexa. I guess unless those irregular people are coming from, say, Haiti or those African nations where French is the language, former French colonies, that is, basically you're flooding your province, your major cities with Anglophones, which is completely contrary to these kind of laws in terms of preserving French language and French culture, aren't you?
Yeah, but they say that they want to provide them like the French school skill. But the only problem, like, who will want, example, at 45 years old, you're coming into Canada, you're pretty old, it's really hard to learn a new language. Do you think they will really bother to learn French at that age?
No, not at all. You know, and... Well, geez, maybe you're giving the legislators another idea for a law. You have to take mandatory French classes. Because, you know, it can get silly there. I remember, was it on 60 Minutes back in the 90s? They were talking about the Quebec signage laws and the Quebec signage police. And wasn't there this story, I don't know if it was an urban legend or not, but I think it was mentioned on the 60 Minutes report where a pet shop got fined because they had a parrot. And the parrot was only saying English phrases as opposed to French.
Like, this is crazy. This is actually crazy.
I know.
It's something that is a reality. Like, I think it's in Gatineau, a veterinarian, like a doctor for pets, specialized in horse. And we know that we are missing a lot of them. Get fired after 3 years she was working because she was not capable to have a proper French in her job, because she was from UK and she had some, like, she was capable to talk a little bit in French and some words, but because she was not like perfectly French, she lost her job. And the other veterinarian, the other doctor went out and say, please don't remove her, because we need her to her specialization on horse, because we don't have any.
That's crazy. And Alexa, you raise an interesting point when you say the phrase perfect French. I want to ask you, what is that? Because I understand, well, actually, I don't understand it because I don't speak French. But if you have a movie, say, made in Quebec, and it is being shown in France, don't they have to sometimes subtitle those movies?
The movie from France, if they look at one of our movies from Quebec, they have subtitle in French.
What's the deal there? I mean, like, if I go to a movie that was made in Australia, New Zealand, the U.S., the UK, I don't need subtitles. English is English. There are accents, of course, that might make some heavy accents might be hard to understand. But what's the deal with that? Why isn't French French? And what, pray tell, is perfect French?
Actually, I don't know, because as you know, the French from France, they use different words for the same thing that we want to say, and we have different expression. So sometimes you cannot understand perfectly what the person tried to say to you. It's why, like, I heard from some humorists that in the past they went to France and they were speaking in French to them, but they had the reply in English because they didn't understand completely what we were saying.
I can never get my mind around that. I wish I was a French speaker just to understand the nuance of why my French movie made in Quebec needs French subtitles when it's shown in France. I find that surreal. I just can't understand it. In any event, I see we have less than 10 minutes to go, Alexa. So do we have, I know time flies when you're having fun. We have a few super chats. So why don't we get to those before we run out of time?
Do you need your glass for reading?
Holy mackerel. Efren, are you kidding? What do you think I am, Clark Kent? I mean, how am I supposed to read that? I'm sorry, folks. Either this is, are you able to see it on your end?
Yeah, I can, but I don't think it would be read, but I can try.
All I can read is Becca Henderson and $1, and thank you for that, Becca.
God, that's big, though.
But that fine print, I think I'm at the optometrist office reading that eye chart. I can see one letter, E.
I will read it.
Okay.
Why isn't the CEO of Pfizer being sentenced to prison for claiming the vax was completely safe when he knew that it wasn't, according to his own document? He lied and people suffered and sometimes died.
Well, I mean, my feeling, Alexa, not just with big pharma, but with how governments, how bureaucracies, how law enforcement, public health authorities handled themselves these past 2 years, I think we are going to, well, I'm hopeful that we're going to see all kinds of commissions, royal commissions, you name it, to go through the grotesque misbehavior of the last 2 years, because this was never really about a virus, a deadly virus. Yes, there were people of certain ages and health conditions that did succumb to it, but this was really about control. And I would argue with companies like Pfizer, this was all about making money, billions of dollars. I mean, there's been new billionaires crafted during this pandemic. I mean, we began the show talking about how this is National Be a Millionaire Day and that there are more than 12 million millionaires in the world today. Guess what, folks? Since the pandemic struck, new billionaires have been created, and maybe there is the potential for criminal charges. But we have to, study this, have inquiries, and find out who misbehaved, I would say.
And I will say, when billionaire is raising, more poor is creating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they'll discuss that at the World Economic Forum. Probably not.
No. That's not really important. That's compliance.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Compliance is the word. Oh, my goodness. Honestly, Alexa, one of my favorite books is indeed 1984. It was written by George Orwell. Yep. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something, because Ezra, our big boss man, he suggested this about a year ago. Reread it. And I did reread it, because the first and only time I read it was in high school. And I was shocked by how much I had forgotten. And I was shocked by how much of that book has come true in 2022. I mean, the reason Orwell called it 1984, he wrote it in 1948 and he just transposed the digits to make it 84. I guess he was really just about 30 odd years off in terms of when it would really kick in. But I urge all our viewers, even if you've read it, reread it, because it is chilling and so prescient in terms of what we're going through today. Efren, do we have another super chat? Well, we have 3 more. Okay, I'm gonna let Supergirl read them.
That's good. I don't need to take course right now. I just need to read the super chat. Okay. Sorry for what happened to you, Alexa. Thank you. At the one protest for freedom, to be assaulted in any way can and often stick with a person for life. Thanks for being brave. thanks for continuing the fight. Thank you so much. I will say, like, sometime I rethink about the event, and this is really disturbing, I would say.
And I want to thank World's Worst Video Gamer for that contribution. And Alexa, let's dwell on that question he raised. When I'm out on the field, I hear the two most frequent questions, even with all the craziness going on in the world, is A, did I ever get my bottle of scotch from the LCBO? The answer is no, if you can believe it, folks. But litigation will come to fruition in the months ahead. And secondly, of course, on a more dire note, is what is the status of the police investigation in Ottawa regarding that horrible discharge of that weapon where that canister hit you in the thigh? Thank God it hit you there as opposed to the head. Maybe we don't have you amongst us anymore if that were the case, Alexa. So what is the deal with that investigation right now?
So I will be heard on the 24th by the commission.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the rest is going to September. I will have the trial there for 2 days.
Well, you know what? I have to say that is pretty fast, given that this happened in February. And of course, you remember you were with me at the Ottawa Police Service Headquarters press conference where I raised that question. And the acting police chief, Bell, either was unaware. He said he was unaware or he was pretending to be unaware, even though just half an hour earlier, you were interviewed by Russian television. This story was going around the world, but Sergeant Schultz at police headquarters had no idea about it. And then the press, after the Q&A is over, and this blew me away because I wish it happened during the Q&A because it would have formed another question for me, Alexa. Do you remember when Chief Bell praised the members of the mainstream media for their diligent press coverage of the occupation and how the police is launching investigations on attacks by members against members of the media? Oh, not physical attacks, folks. Saucy language and slurs. Yeah, evidently the CBC and CTV reporters are very sensitive, you understand. And those investigations were already launched. Meanwhile, my beloved co-host, Alexa, who actually got shot, don't know what you're talking about, boss. I'll look into it. Unbelievable, Alexa.
And especially like when we look at you, when you went to the counter protest, how you've been treated. Do we say anything about like how you've been like insult or like your hat was flying away or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that was right in front of the Ottawa Parliamentary Police Service, and who typically do a good job. I'll give credit where credit is due. But when that guy grabbed my hat and threw it away like Captain America's shield, it was right in front of them, and not a single police officer enacted upon that. Now, I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill. I'll pick my fights in terms of real physical assault. But I can tell you this, Alexa, if the opposite had happened, if that pro-abortion demonstrator had a hat and I tossed it off his head, I'm probably in jail right now.
Oh, yeah.
What a double standard. Efren, do we have another one, my friend?
Oh, Alexa, I'm in Ontario. I heard that Quebecers that can speak English won't answer the question of English-speaking traveler from other province. Is this true? I would be nervous driving to Quebec. So I think that is a rumor. I don't think that is true. I think what the Premier say, they say that nothing will really have changed, but in the same time, we are not really know what is going on because the bill is really complicated and unclear. But I know that a lot of people will answer question to English speaker because we love them. We always being welcoming to people that is come from the rest of Canada, but as well around the world. We are one of the most welcoming people, I think, that I know around the world. We are really warm people, and we really like to know a lot of other culture and people. So don't worry, come to Quebec. We will like be really happy to have you there.
And you know what, AMT60, and by the way, thanks for the donation. I echo Alexa's sentiments on this. You know, I'd heard these rumors that, you know, if you go to Quebec and you say, can I please have a Coca-Cola, they won't serve you because you didn't say Coca-Cola in French, i.e. Coca-Cola. And when I first went to Quebec City in the early 90s, it was for some conference, I went to a menswear shop, and I can tell you the gentlemen serving me were so friendly and so accommodating, even though it was clearly that they were francophones and they were more comfortable in French. And as the conference went on, right across the city and in subsequent visits, I can tell you the people of Quebec City, where French is very strong, they were always going out of their way to accommodate me in English. It's true. So I don't believe those urban legends of make sure you pronounce Coca-Cola properly.
No, I think everything is fine. It's only for like big company. As you know, like Red Lobster left Quebec because he didn't want it to change his name for Homard Rouge. So that is.
Are you serious? Oh my goodness.
But that is correct. Yeah, but because now the change need to change their name in English, in French, and some of them, they are like, no, we are not doing that. I'm sorry, we are leaving.
I thought, you know, Alexa, explain the nuances of the signage laws, because I always thought if the name on the sign was like a registered trademark, you could get away with the English version, or you could modify it, i.e., you know, taking out the apostrophe, right?
Yes.
If, you know, so what happened with Red Lobster that they...
because Red Lobster is actually a physical name. It's not a family name or a name of a person. Like Michael's, it's okay because it's the name of someone. And Starbucks, it's keep being Starbucks because it's the name. Like, but you have some of company where their name can be translating in French. Because of the law of the writing in French, you need to change the name to a French.
Well, I got to be honest. I mean, I don't know what Red Lobster was thinking. If those were indeed profitable restaurants, the idea that you would close it down, because even Anglophones are going to look at the logo and understand it's Red Lobster as opposed... What do you call it in French again?
Homard Rouge.
That's hilarious. Anyways.
But maybe it's because of that. But everybody was thinking that it was because of that, because they actually left on the same time that the writing was needed to be being all in French. I still believe that is that, but I will keep you updated on this.
Yeah. You stay on that Red Lobster file. Okay. We have another one, Alexa.
Yeah. So $5, thank you. The three great scam of the 21st century: climate change, crook, 2 BLM, crook, 3 COVID, crook, and 1 4 good luck. Good government crook. What is crook?
Oh, crook means criminal, basically, Alexa.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
as in crooked.
I didn't know.
Yeah. You know, well, Fraser, thank you very much for that $5 donation. Yeah, I think, you know, we've discussed this before. Our beloved colleague Sheila Gunn-Reid last week had a piece on this, where really, if you look at the climate change movement, the green movement is really the red movement. It's really more about Marxism. It's more about control. It's more about creating a fake emergency to tear things down. I really believe the environmental movement, and this was the focus of Sheila's piece, Alexa, it's being co-opted by the far left, and it's all about doom and gloom and preaching for us to change our behavior, i.e. get on public transit, ride a bicycle to work, what have you, whereas the main cheerleaders of this movement get around in executive jets. I mean, give me a break.
Mm-hmm. But I cannot stop thinking about the H1N1 when they were saying like we will have so much death, and at the end we had like so few death that they claimed that it was a pandemic, but unfortunately they were not fitting on the point that it was, and afterward it was just an epidemic or something like that. And as you know, Quebec was the place in the world the most vaccinated place, so we knew that 10 years after, everybody will have like rushing to get the vaccine in Quebec, especially.
Wow. Well, like I said, hopefully in the months and years ahead, we have commissions analyzing how the authorities behaved during this pandemic. I believe we have another chat. Here we go.
Road Run. Is there any way the crime minister can be impeached? Like how they do in the US, even better, maybe leave banana peels all over the PMO during working hour.
Well, the answer is we don't have an impeachment process in a parliamentary democracy like Canada. But hopefully, whenever we have that election, and my God, I hope it's earlier than 2025, thanks to Jagmeet Singh propping up this government. Hopefully the Canadian people will impeach Prime Minister Trudeau at the ballot box, or at least his government. I think his Montreal riding is safe until the end of time, no matter how many women he gropes and no matter how many times he dons blackface and what have you. What are your thoughts, Alexa?
I just don't know when they start to be friends, Jagmeet Singh and Mr. Trudeau.
Yeah, it's quite something to watch. Jagmeet Singh, almost on a daily basis, will finger wag his hand at this government, but when push comes to shove, will vote in support of this government. I actually have more contempt in my heart for Jagmeet Singh than I do for Prime Minister Trudeau, Alexa, because this is the leader of the fourth place party that is essentially allowing the Trudeau Liberals to stay in power until at least 2025. But I think things might change. As the saying goes, today cannot possibly dream of what tomorrow will bring. And we shall see. But that is truly scary that we'd have to wait till 2025. Unbelievable. I think we have some more chats, Alexa.
Yes.
Okay.
Joyful from the heart. Wow, that's a beautiful name. $1, thank you. Please speak to like-minded friend, family. It's amazing how many who were against jab passport and were for the freedom convoy are voting for Ford. Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you know what? I wonder about that. I can tell you this, Joyful from the Heart, that when I go down to Queen's Park, and for more than 2 years now, there's been demonstrations there, some larger than others. But when you ask them who they voted for in 2018, it's almost exclusively the PC Party of Ontario under Doug Ford. And that is no longer the case anymore. And there are breakaway parties like the Ontario Party, the New Blue Party. What I'm getting at is that Doug Ford and the PCs could never appeal to the Liberals or the NDP, at least not in a large way. But I can tell you, they have alienated a huge part of their base. When members of Ford Nation are described by the Premier as a bunch of yahoos, are you kidding me? Those people are not voting for the Ford PCs. And when it comes to vax passports, I recall last year, Alexa, Doug Ford saying we're not going to have a two-tier citizenship status in Ontario. And then mere weeks after that, well, folks, we're going for a vaccine passport. Just yet another flip-flop in a series of flip-flops. So many flip-flops. I think, the great Olympic gold medalist gymnast Nadia Comaneci would be blushing right now to see that. Oh, has Alexa frozen?
I hope no.
We have one more chat, Alexa, if you're able to read it.
Yeah. Did I still froze? Oh, Alexa has a beautiful English. Oh my God, thank you. I take that. This is really important for me because I know that I'm doing so much effort and I'm trying so because I know I learned so late my English at 26 years old. When you get older, it's pretty hard to get rid of your accent and get rid of all you speak. And sometimes I'm a little bit discouraged, but I continue because I need to bring the other side of the story.
Great. And sorry, Alexa, you faded out for me on this end. Were you able to read that chat okay? Or
I did.
Okay,
Did I?
perfect. Yeah, I'll take your word for it because I just had a technical problem with my earpiece. So I guess it's an appropriate. Oh, is there one more to go? We're good to go. Well, listen, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. A special thank you to those who contributed financially to us. For those celebrating a holiday on Monday in Ontario, don't forget to raise a glass to the Queen. She's still kicking. And in the meantime, we will be back here, not on Monday because it's Victoria Day in Ontario, but on Tuesday, I'll be joined by the she-devil herself, Sheila Gunn-Reid. And have a fantastic and safe holiday Monday. And as always, stay sane.